What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 7th day of September, and here we are sitting at about $2.87. $2, almost $2.88. Closing out this week on a bullish note. That's good to see. 8 hours, 44 minutes left in the week, in the day here. If you're looking at this day, you have moved up a good little bit, and that's nice, but I'm not convinced that you're completely absolved of going lower just yet, right? That is just a lower high in this range. Right, we take our handy dandy trend line, draw it down. It's just another lower high. It's nothing to get too excited about. Even if we go a little bit higher like we did here, that might be a better time to sell than it is to get excited. And I'll tell you what level I would get excited with, actually, if we're looking at this here from a low to, or a high to a, that's not what I meant to draw, sorry. High to a low. Let's take the high to low here. I would get excited once we're back above maybe like $3.15, $3.10, something like that. That's when I would get excited, okay? That's maybe whenever everybody should get excited, but not right now. I don't think it's the time to get excited right now. Typically, when XRP finds support, the way that it finds support is like this, right? You bounce, you move up, you bounce, you move up, you bounce, you move up. Right? That's even if you're moving lower, that's how you find support. Whenever you grind it out like this, you typically do move lower, typically, right? Here, you grinded out this area, right? And what'd you do? You moved lower, but then you bounced up. You continued to rally based off of that, right? Then you were grinding the upside. Anyways, looking at this here on a 1 hour time frame. Do we have all the indicators pulled up? Yes, we do. Oh, nice. You got pretty oversold there, or overbought, all the way up to the 90. Nice little movement there on the 1 hour time frame. Pretty big wick left behind. Dude, I think we should look at this on Binance. Something with volume. I'm kind of curious to see. Yep, that's a lot of volume there. I don't know. Feels like we've been here before. Feels like we've seen stuff like this happen before, and typically it doesn't bode well. But that is a pretty strong reading there, not going to lie. Stochastics coming down out of the overbought zone makes me think that we're going to go lower. The MACD looks kind of nice right now, I'm not going to lie, but it is the 1 hour time frame, so I'm not going to weigh too heavy on that. All in all, even if we are to go higher, even if I'm wrong and the low is in, I would expect there's a little volatility now, and we probably do move back down to like 285, 283, something that's just above 280 at least, right? But looking at the 4 hour time frame, I think it becomes more clear that we are going to go lower. That's a pretty big wick to the upside there. Most of this candle is a wick. Half of it's a body. You've got higher highs in your RSI. I guess you do have a higher high in price here depending on where you close. You know, if you come down in the next 41 minutes and you close this a little bit green, but you close it lower than these lows, these highs here. Why can't I talk? If you close it green but still close it lower than these highs here, you'll have higher highs in the RSI with lower highs in the price, and that would actually be bearish. Stochastics are at an area that you found resistance at before. You found resistance at before. Just because you find resistance here doesn't mean you have to get oversold, right? You found resistance here and you still climbed, but overall, I'm just not impressed with this move yet. Okay, not yet. MACD, neutral, who cares? Hard to say. Yes, it's green right now. You're crossing up, but who cares? I'm no more excited about this than I would have been about this, than I would have been about this, than I would have been about this, right? It's not exciting. Not until we get above probably about like $2.90, okay? If not $3. No, sorry, not $2.90. Why am I saying that? What was the price? For some reason I thought it was $2.90. It's definitely not $2.90. It'd be $3.05, yeah. $3.10, something like that, yeah, or right around there. $3.10, that's what it was. Looking at the 4 hour time frame here. Again, this RSI does look bullish overall, or at least right now you're in a bullish posturing, but overall actually it does look bearish. You're getting oversold. You're not getting overbought, right? Oversold here, living around the oversold zone, living below the 50. You've got a little bit of neutrality here to the bullish effect as well. But if it doesn't persist, it's going to look just like all these other rejections, in my opinion. You got some stuff going for you on the stochastics, but other than that, I'm really not impressed with either of the other two indicators. Not yet. Depends on what we do in the next 40 minutes. It also depends on what we do in the next 4 hour candle there. Daily time frame, looking at this here. I'll tell you what, the RSI is kind of nice on the daily time frame, right? You're coming down, right? You've got like these lower lows, lower highs coming down, and now you're shifting sideways. Anytime you see that, that's pretty hard to do without getting into the oversold zone. Anytime you see that, right? Like we were in a downtrend, we shifted sideways, and what did that do? That allowed us to grow. That was that July rally that we had all the way up to new all-time highs, right? So that's kind of nice. This does bode well, I will say. I actually do like that. That is the first thing that I've seen that actually makes me think that the low could be in, if we're being fair. And you have this double bottom kind of fake out low. But today's reaction so far, the wick down, that's I don't like that. Or the wick up, technically. I don't like that. It's like Wick City over here. You're just finding resistance at prior support areas. But the RSI is a good argument there. Stochastics coming up, that looks good, but you're still in this area where you typically find turbulence. So, if you do that, you're going to go lower. And the MACD looks nice. I mean, there's bullish divergence being built there. You look like you're about to cross up. Will you is the question, right? You either will or you won't. You're at that point where you might reject, right? Typically, if you're in a bearish trend, you do like kind of these lines kiss and then they move away. If you're in a bullish trend, same thing, they kiss and then they move away. It's not enough to go off of to be bullish on yet, so I'm going to maintain the bearish stance, okay? I have to admit, if I'm being just completely transparent here, I'm a little bit considerate that we have found the low, a little bit more now than I was at the beginning of this video, and maybe even more now than I have been really throughout any of these other days. But it depends on what we do between now and the end of the day. It depends on what we do, next week as well. I mean, we get above $3.10 on a daily closing basis, I'd be convinced that we're at the low, that we have the low, and then we're moving higher. And that's only like 12 cents away from here, so that's really not that far away. Wait, is it 12 cents? No, it's 22 cents away from here. Is that right? Yeah, it would be 22 cents, right? 10 cents from here is $2.98. 20 cents from here would be $3.08. So yeah, 22 cents. A little brain fart there. The arithmetic gets me, man. 8 hours, 37 minutes left in the day. If we're looking at this here, again, I'm not completely convinced yet. You can tell if you're not paying attention, you can tell that I'm definitely a little bit stumped on this right now. I could be wrong. But I'm sticking with, in moments like this, I think it's important to stick with the trend. And right now we do have lower lows and lower highs. The trend will be your friend until the end of the trend, and we'll end the trend once we get above $3.10. I wouldn't be surprised at all if this was not the low and we went lower. If we are to go lower, that's what we haven't talked about yet. If we are to go lower, I would assume that we go down to about 257. I doubt we get below 250. Somewhere between like 265 and 257, or 265, 255, something like that. That's what I would expect, right? We don't have to interact with that 1272 area. We could interact with this 1272 area, 270, 258, something like that. I very much doubt that we get too much below these points of resistance here, if at all below, and that would put us, that's at like 258. So I really doubt that we even get below like 255, but time will tell. Time will tell. I think we have a little bit lower to go, and if I'm wrong, get above $3.10 on a daily closing time frame. Don't just wick up there. If you come up there, if we're at $3.10 tomorrow, but then we come down and we close back down here, that's not a good look. That doesn't count, right? That's just a lower high. Close above 310. Prove me wrong. I'm kind of getting a little angsty. I think that I might be wrong here, but at the same time, I'm maintaining that stance that we will go lower. All right. I'm repeating myself too much. Let's just move on. Weekly time frame, weekly RSI is bullish. It's fantastic. It looks fantastic. Absolutely. Stochastics look great as well, bouncing off the 50 there. That's good to see. And the MACD is at a point where you'd look to find support as well. The fact that this week looks like it wants to close green, I think, is awesome. Next week, we can afford to come down a little bit. We can afford to wick down and then come back up like we did here. It's okay if you come down. It's okay if the week starts off on a bad note. But we want next week, ideally, to close green as well. Because if we get 2 weeks in a row to close green, we're at these points on all these indicators, on the RSI, on the stochastics, and the MACD, where it would look really, really well. It would look really fantastic. I can't talk today. I don't know what it is. I didn't sleep well. Where if we bounce here, that would be awesome. That would just be very awesome. So time will tell. We'll see how it goes. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.